Joining me right now is Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. He's a member of the House Armed Services, Foreign Affairs, and Intelligence Committees. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. I know that already we've sent 3 cabinet members to Beijing. Gina Raimondo, the Commerce Secretary, is getting ready to go herself, we understand. And Joe Biden is talking about, at some time soon, talking to Xi Jinping. It's a lot of effort on the American side, isn't it?
Oh, it's a tremendous effort. I think this is the most serious diplomatic effort we've seen from the administration, except for its desperation to get into the Iran deal or back into it. And what have all of those cabinet secretaries received in return? Nothing. Zilch. Nada. This is a concessions-first policy with cabinet member after cabinet member saying, what can we bring to the table? What can we concede? How can we appease in exchange for only getting the meeting? Rather than coming to the table and saying, you know what, spy bases in Cuba, continuing to harass and intimidate Taiwan, the spy balloon incident, we could go down the list of offenses, and here are the consequences the Chinese Communist Party are going to continue to be met with if this type of behavior continues. That's not the approach we're getting or going to get, because you have an appeasement-first, concessions-first foreign policy with this administration, and it is so incredibly dangerous.
Right, and you started off by saying that these cabinet members have gotten nothing. I would go one step further and say, no, actually, they've been blown off. They've been mocked. While John Kerry was still on the ground in Beijing, Xi Jinping and his team were telling the world, nobody's going to push us around on the climate. We'll make our own decisions. As soon as Janet Yellen got back, they leaked a story that she took, psychedelic mushrooms while she's there. While Anthony Blinken was getting ready to travel to Beijing, they were hacking in his emails and knew exactly what he was going to say. And now, after all of that, you mentioned the spy balloon, the police stations, the administration is now reportedly considering lifting sanctions on a Chinese police station if Beijing commits to combating fentanyl. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo joined me yesterday, slamming this proposal. Here's what the former Secretary of State told me. Watch.
The Chinese Communist Party understands one thing. It understands power, strength, and commitment. And when you say, gosh, if you'll just stop poisoning our kids, if you'll just stop sending chemicals to Mexico that are being processed and then transited into the United States, killing millions of American kids, if you'll just think about stopping that, well, gosh, we'll do something good for you. That's not going to work.
Congressman, I don't understand why there are absolutely no consequences for all of this bad behavior and this aggression from Communist China.
Well, Maria, you just have to understand this is the same crew around Biden that was around Obama. They are all about finding what America can give up, what America can put on the table, what concessions we can make, whether it was in response to Russia and the Colonial Pipeline hack or response to the fentanyl poisoning our kids. What concession can they put on the table in the hopes and a prayer that our adversaries respond? And Secretary Pompeo is absolutely right. That's why he was so effective. They understand consequences. And if we went and traveled there, first of all, they should travel to us. But secondly, if we told them and gave them a list of the companies that will be knocked off the international market, that will be shut down, in addition to the fact that we're going to start going after the cartels with military assets in support of our law enforcement, and we are going to go on offense, we would get a much better result. But that's not the approach of this administration.
Yeah, we're not doing any of that. And you know what? Maybe it's not actually ineptitude, but simple corruption. Maybe he's just another corrupt politician. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy doubled down on his threat of impeachment yesterday. There is an inquiry now being talked about. Here's the speaker yesterday on this. Watch.
You've got IRS whistleblowers saying something when it comes to government treating the Bidens different. You've got an informant claiming that the Biden family had been bribed. Should you ignore that or should investigate that? We're watching this administration use government much like Richard Nixon used by denying us to get the information that we need.
Todd Pyre, I want you to jump in here because Kevin McCarthy has been very clear in terms of getting the evidence first, Todd. You know, he did not want it. A lot of his colleagues wanted impeachment just from ineptitude, like dereliction of duty at the border, or, you know, going against the Supreme Court and doing things that are unconstitutional, like forgiving people's debt. He said, no, we're going to follow the evidence. Now, here we are, after the House has done the work. Now he brings up impeachment inquiry. This is after they've done the work.
And to that point, Maria, there has been a palpable and perceptible change in what I think we in the media are feeling coming out of where you were, Congressman, coming out of the Hill, that maybe impeachment actually could happen. But as we all know, none of it can happen unless the Democrats get on board. So in your private conversations, because obviously nobody's going to say this publicly if you're a Democrat, but in your private conversations with Democrats, are you getting a sense that the tide has turned with regard to their willingness to impeach Joe Biden?
Oh, no.
Okay.
We're not getting that. We're not getting that sense yet. But I got to tell you, there's a lot of kind of squirming, hand-wringing, head shaking. And this is why you see Biden's poll numbers where they are. I think that reflects what many Dems are hearing back in their district, but I have not heard one yet say, look, you know, maybe we do need to go there. Wow. But you can't hide from bank records. You can't hide from suspicious activity reports. And you certainly can't hide from multiple, very credible whistleblowers, one of whom was self-described a Democrat. And I would just say, guys, think about all the things we would not know, not just on Hunter Biden, but on Afghanistan, on COVID origins, everything that we're uncovering in just a few months that we wouldn't know if Republicans hadn't won the House.
You're right.
And we're going to follow the facts, and we are going to do this the right way. And I don't think the Democrats are going to be happy with where we end up.
Well, let me just say, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. told me he wants an investigation. He joined me on Sunday Morning Futures on Sunday. He also said it last night on the town hall we had on Fox News. There's one Democrat who's recognizing, and he's competing against Joe Biden. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much. We will keep a spotlight on all of this. Michael Waltz.